back with Jason at True Vintage RC. Thanks for choosing to stop in and check out the content today. So, with less than 2 weeks now till the Vintage Bash down at KNOX, Melbourne here in Australia, we have got some two-wheel drive cars on the table here, and I've also got some camera and my drone equipment here on the table, so I just thought I'd talk to the audience about what's going on with that. So already we've been through Thursday, which is cars and coffee, so that's going to be fantastic, and that's going to be Thursday the 31st of October, and then of course Friday is the 1st of November, and that's truck racing, so that's going to be an absolute blast. It's going to be a new one for me, and I can't wait to see what it's like having 4 Shoemaker Storm 2000 trucks out there amongst a massive field. Now, last I heard, I think there were 4, or is it 5, full heats, and so there are 12 drivers per heat, and that I'll just touch on that now. The driver stand at KNOX, I think it comfortably can carry 11 drivers, so 12 drivers is really got a bit of a squeeze in there. I don't know how you'd even get a 13th driver in there, so unless we're all anorexic, which I highly doubt is going to be the case, I think it's going to be a tight squeeze getting 12 in there. But anyway, that class is going to be absolutely stacked on the Friday. So we get through Friday, and Saturday, which is the 2nd of November, is two-wheel drive day. And I've got what I have here, 2 cars that I'm going to be racing on that day, and they're from 2 different eras. So on my right here is the earliest era. So this is my Traxxas TRX1. And it's one of those cars you either love or hate them, and I've never ever hated it. I've always loved the TRX1. I thought it was one of the coolest, most revolutionary looking cars of its time, with this crazy cockpit body here, which was kind of reminiscent, you know, of the time with, like, say, the Shoemaker Pro Cat had that sort of, you know, space cabin type feel. So did the 870C. So did, what was it, the Kyosho's Optima Mid Custom had that cockpit type body, and the TRX1 continues that, and I just absolutely love the car. So does Lou, so does some other people out there, and there's going to be a few of these things kicking around the track on the day. So yeah, this is my TRX1. I've been very fortunate to have been gifted from Andy Cook, who does the GPX 3D printed arms for this car. So it's actually got the arms, it's got the inner hinge pins, or hinge pin blocks there, same with the rear, and I've got a few black plastic components on this one, but I did try my best to keep it as wide as possible. So yeah, it's an absolute cracking car. Body off, it's still got some dust on it from last year. I had a bit of bad luck last year. In fact, I had a bit of bad luck both at Keilor and at KNOX, because the white parts just wouldn't hold up. Now, I have raced this car at the Castle Hill vintage events, and that's when it had the black plastic components, or they were just really ugly dyed white components, and for some reason they held up. The car went around really well. I love the way this car drives. Some people think it's a bit like a boat, you know, and it doesn't turn quickly enough, but I don't know, this suits my driving down to a T. And so it's also got a top deck on this. This one comes from Berserk, so he helped me come up with a design here. It's got Berserk custom carbon fibre front and rear shock towers, so it's fronts, rears. Well, this car's got a bunch of cool bits in it. A&L yellow ball race steering conversion. It's also got a Rayborn slipper inside of here, so it's machined down associated slipper. I think that's what it was back in the day. They machined I think they machined the back plate of the slipper, or anyway. It's a direct fit into this car, so it's fantastic. It's been really helpful to having it. I can swap over different spurs, like say Kimbrough or whatever. Onto the electrics, I'm running a KO ProPo. Keith, it's not a CoPro. I actually had to read the comments because I watched your Tamiya TRF video last night, and someone had put in the comments trying to explain to you how to pronounce KO Propo. They're a Japanese electronics company, and I had to laugh because even as Keith was talking about the VFS1 ESC, and it had a KO servo and a KO receiver in it, and he kept on saying CoPro. Anyway, when you're over, Keith, we'll get you worked out with that, because yeah, KO Propo is how it's pronounced. But mate, I had to have a bit of laugh when I saw that. It's also running a Tekin FX Pro ESC. I love these ESCs. I reckon they were the best brushed ESC ever made, in my opinion. That you just can't fault them. They just go forever, and they never break down. That's been really reliable for me. Just running a Spectrum receiver, and in this class, so all the two-wheel drive classes of the era that I'm racing, you could either run a 21.5 brushless stock motor, but I'm running an old CO27 rebuildable 27-turn brushed stock motor, and this one really sings. Now, at 7.4 volts on my dyno, it was pushing out, what was that, 35,000 RPM. I don't know if that's standard for a motor, and I can guarantee you, I've got my buddy Richard here, who lives close to me here on the Central Coast. He swears that there's something dodgy about that motor, but I said, mate, it's 100% legit. I pulled it down. It's the proper armature and everything. So it's a bit of a freak stock motor, that one. I don't know why it works, but it does. So anyway, that is my TRX1. Now, to my left here, I have my Team Losi XX. Now, the reason for this car is that I've never actually raced one, and I really do enjoy racing my Losi XX4 Worlds Edition cars, and they're so easy to drive out, you know, even with a lot of power in them. They're actually, they hook up really well, and I think it's got a lot to do with the suspension geometry, and certainly on the rear, they tend to hold around corners really well. So I have never had it spin out on me. It really grips up so good, and I'm like, well, there must be something good translated into two-wheel drive also. So I got to talking to my friend Scott. He also lives here on the Central Coast, and he's a mad Losi fan, and you know, that's all he really wants anything to do with is XX type series cars. And anyway, we came up with a deal. He wanted some Yokomo parts that I had, and he had some parts to go into building this car, and I came up with whatever was needed on top of that. But yeah, I ended up with this absolute gem of and I think it's a XX CR. I think it's as close to that as I can get. I'm not all that knowledgeable on the XX two-wheel drive buggies, but yeah, this is an absolute cracker. I came up with my own paint job. He got me in, I think it might have been a Boki body set. I'm really impressed with Boki quality Lexan, because I got one for the XX4. And it might be this one as well, but yeah, a perfect fit, really good quality Lexan. So this car, I managed to pick up one of these lightweight silver anodized rear motor plates, and I bolted this onto the transmission myself. I went with some chrome MIP CVDs in the rear there. So Scott had built me up some really nice black CVDs, but they went onto one of my XX4s because, well, I had a silver rear motor plate. I might as well have silver rear drive shafts. And I went with some JC Racing 5-spoke wheels. Now, I run those also on my XX4. I really like his 5-spoke rim. What else is going on in here? So let's get the body off and have a look at what's underneath. In this class, you can run a 21.5 open turn motor, brushless, of course, and I picked myself up a hobby wing. I think it might be a G4 21.5, and yeah, the thing goes along pretty good. I had it out in the street, give it a test run, and it goes pretty quickly, so I'm very happy with it. And Scott did an amazing job of building this car. Like, he went to great detail, and he certainly cleaned up all the parts really nice. I know he bought a donor car, and he managed to put together the rest of it for me, and I'm just really impressed with it. I love it. I can't wait to get out the track and give it a bit of a spin and see what it actually does. So I'm not going to show it on this video, but I also have built a XX two-wheel drive for Keith over at RC Icon, so he'll be over here in less than a week now. So today's Sunday, he'll be arriving here as of Friday morning. I'll pick him up from Sydney Airport, and yeah, I've built him up a XX now. Yeah, so and I'll pick Keith up from the airport, and he'll be heading back to the True Vintage RC studio here, and we're going to have to start unboxing some of his items that he's had shipped over, and I'm sure there'll be lots of goodies inside, and from that we'll figure out what projects need to be worked on next. So what else is there going on? So that's my two two-wheel drive buggies that I've got set up for the event, but there is actually a third one. So in the background here over my right hand shoulder is my RC10GX. So this was a culmination of parts that I purchased from Andrew Cook of GP3D, and he's been well known for making basically Masami's 89 IFMA winning stealth buggy. So this was the Stealth RC10, and this is my my take on it. Now, I picked up this body. It's not the standard body that everyone seems to be putting on these cars with the Masami livery. I wanted to go a bit left of field, in fact. Now, I did attend the 89 IFMA at St Ives, and there was more than just Masami driving at that track. So what I wanted to do was try and create my own take on maybe what a fellow Team Yokomo driver may have actually put on the track. So this was just, in theory, I wanted something that was maybe blue and yellow, based off some of the team colours cars I've seen in the past. I remember seeing an 870C Dogfighter in blue and yellow in some video footage and some photos, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to recreate my own. So anyway, yeah, so this is my RC10GX, and Andy's been done an incredible job on creating these cars, including the 91 IFMA car also. And so, I mean, the carbon fibre work was done by Paul at Berserk and is just second to none, you know. And we're talking, this car's got the carbon fibre beautiful chassis with the kick-up built into the carbon fibre plate. And yeah, God, I've paid homage in this one, where I have to pull on my glasses to have a bit of a look at some of the finer letters on the servos. But this is an old KO PS87 FET with the booster box servo from back in the day. Now, who remembers those things? So cool. And I've even got the little clear Lexan receiver case, and inside of that is just a Spectrum receiver there, so nothing special inside of it, but it's just to pay homage to what it was like back then. And of course I've got a VFS1 Yokomo labelled KO Propo ESC there. And as for the motor, again, I'm running another one of these rebuildable 27-turn stock motors, and I'm not sure what that one was pulling out, 29,000 RPM. So the TRX1 is definitely gunning a quicker motor, as in top speed. So I don't know how much torque they're making, but it'd be interesting to see the difference. I did drive this car last year, and it was really cool to have out on track, but unfortunately it seems that the shocks on these cars really do benefit from being set up correctly for the track conditions. And I know that's a bit of an understatement, because you got to do that with every car, but I found this car being having really tall front shocks. It just was a little bit more of a handful that I could handle around the track. And I've seen Cookie driving his car around the track, and it absolutely dominates. And I said to Andrew, look, I want to buy some of those Fan RC shocks from you, which he had in stock, which I have on this car right now. So Fan RC did a really good recreation of these Tim Associated shock absorbers, and I said to Andy, I said, look, is there a chance that you might, for me, be able to build up these shocks and set them up exactly the same as you have in your car. So it might have been a stretch of the friendship there, but he gladly accepted, and I was happy to pay him a few extra dollars for the trouble. But yeah, hopefully I'm going to get this car out on track, whether it is actually in the class racing, or maybe I do 2 races with the TRX1 and I do 2 races with the RC10GX. But you know, like, it's just superbly crafted, and I know that Cookie goes to great lengths to make to print these suspension arms and all the components in the best materials, you know, in the best way possible. And I've even been told, and it's a fact now, that suspension arms benefit from being tilted up on an angle and printed like on 45 degrees or whatever angle it is. But I have seen some photos there of how he goes about it, and to date I don't think there's many breakages that have come off his cars, and it's really shown me personally that you know, 3D printed parts can work in this hobby, and this car is a perfect example of it, as is I think the KNOX 91, so the 91 Detroit car, and I'm just so stoked to have it. So thank you, Andy, and anyone who has not yet or is on the cusp of buying one of these things, they really should buy one of these kits now. And Fan RC now sells a transmission and other essential bits and pieces in order to actually make these things a reality. And the Fan RC shocks, I mean, they look exactly, well, to my eye, they look so much like the original Associated, it's hard to tell them apart. I think people are going to struggle as time goes by. And, you know, what can you say but other than thank you to these people who go to much trouble. So anyway, so there's my 3 two-wheel drives. And also I have in front of me here my camera equipment. So this is just some of the equipment that I'll have with me that I usually take to these events. And on the right hand side here I have 4 spare batteries for my GoPros, and I have a charging bank for them. So I've got the GoPro Hero 10 Black. So I've actually got 2 of these cameras, and what I tend to do is I don't put them on a tripod around the track, but I actually have them on these Manfrotto adjustable what would you want to call them, adjustable poles. And the beauty is, you know, out on the track I can literally get these cameras up really close to the cars out on the track, which is what I do. And so the video footage you see on my channel generally is, you know, me following up on the side of the car, or trying to stay out of the way of the car and capture it as it's coming through, or even I'll do laps around the track. I'll do track walks with them. Very, very handy, very simple system to use, and so far to date it's been the best 4K video capture I've been able to achieve. So I actually have 2 full setups of these, so at any time 2 can be out on the track at the same time. Often a friend will actually ask, hey look, you know, do you want me to take one out for you? And that's really appreciated, because without it I wouldn't get these cars on video, because I'm out there driving, so I can't drive and film at the same time. And I probably even push the limit sometimes. I'll be out there marshalling, I'll have a camera out with me, and I'll just try and do both at the same time. And most of the times it's okay, but on occasion some people get upset about it, a bit shirty, and I don't blame them, because you're supposed to be there just to marshal. But you know what? I'm just doing the best I can out there. And on this side here I've got my DJI Mini 3 Pro, and this little unit here is fantastic. It captures 4K quality. It's got a really great gimbal on the front here, which is very sensitive, I'll tell you that right now. So if anybody feels like Jason's out there to cause havoc with his drone, it's not the case. You know, I'm absolutely being very careful with this drone, because one slip up, one small fall to the ground, and there's a very good chance that this gimbal in the front here is going to cop a crack. And once that happens, it's a $500 repair every day of the week, and I don't want to do that. So when I'm out there capturing video with the drone, I've got sensors on the front and on the underside here, and generally they keep me out of trouble. So if there is something in front of the drone, it will actually stop. So I can't physically fly it into an object. And so generally I keep it far enough away people so that no one gets injured or annoyed too much. But they are fantastic tools, and what I've found is that even say there's a jump section, you know, coming through here and the car's traveling this way, I can even bank the drone while capturing with the camera, you know, the car in action going over the jumps. It makes for a really interesting shot. Also following the car around, or even sometimes flying backwards and capturing the car, the front of the car, as the drone's going backwards. So it takes a bit of skill, and I'm not saying I'm a grandmaster at it. I've had enough experience doing it now, enough practice to do okay. But there are people who can fly these things through hoops and around courses, and they're just absolute geniuses in my opinion. But it's been fantastic because it's enabled me, even as a novice, to get out there, get some practice with them, and you know, capture some pretty cool footage, which you're going to see at the end of this video. So anyway, that brings me to the end of this video. So thank you very much for choosing to stop in and check out this video. Please, why not subscribe to the channel? If you're not subscribed to the channel, it doesn't cost anything, you know, just jump on. And actually on the left hand side of the screen, oh, well, okay, is it? I think it's on the left hand side of the screen, but on my left hand side you'll see a little red box down here which has a YouTube and signature on it, and you just press that and that takes you directly to subscribing to the channel. It's pretty cool. It's just a little red watermark. You'll probably see it in the corner there. I'm going to put an arrow into it and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So easy to do, and the channel is sitting at 2,930 subscribers the last time I looked, and it'd be good to see if we can get this thing over 3,000 subscribers, hopefully before the Vintage Bash, or at least over the Vintage Bash. So anyway, don't forget, please give us a like if you like the video. Subscribe. There is a notification bell. If you're interested in this event or any of the sort of content that I follow, definitely hit that notification bell, because it's going to tell you when my next video is coming out, and they're going to come thick and fast right now, because I've got a lot of content I want to push out before I even get to the bash. And whilst at the bash, I'm going to try and do some updates. I'm even going to take my computer with me down to the bash, so any accommodation I can go back each afternoon, even if it's just a 5-minute video, something that just gets something back out on the internet, and you can have, and people from afar can have a look at it, and you can see what's actually going on. So wow, anyway, almost going to get tongue twisted on this one. Thanks very much, guys. Leave us a thumbs up, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye now.